Well, hello and welcome to this episode of the Weekly Word. Father Ed Estock here.
Father Kyle Rosser.
We're coming to you from St. Albert the Great Parish. So if you are a new viewer on our YouTube channel, please know how welcome you are. We're contemplating the 28th Sunday in Ordinary Time. And for our parish community, we are going to be celebrating our great parish service day. And I think we have reached a new, level this year. We have over 2,000 men and women, boys and girls, who have committed to doing acts of mercy and compassion at 150 different sites in the Cleveland metropolitan area, from here in North Royalton to Lake County. So wide extended mercy on behalf of our parish church, but as a community of faith. So this is a great celebration in our Respect Life Month. So last week we celebrated motherhood and infants in the womb and in childbirth. And this week we're celebrating the poor and vulnerable life through our service day. So, and we have some scriptures that might, help us to be more sensitive to the condition of others around us and the power of, or the ability of God, maybe, to be effective in people's lives through our meager service. So,
Yeah, we have some interesting readings this weekend. I was saying to Father Estock before we started that we're finally out of all the great parables that Luke gives us. As great they are, it can often be a lot to have parable after parable after parable. So this week we get a good story of Jesus cleansing the 10 lepers, and of course only one of the 10 returns to Jesus giving thanks. And that's really compared to our first reading, which is an interesting reading from the Old Testament. We have Naaman, a figure from, he's a general from Babylon, from a totally pagan society, and he comes to Israel looking for healing. He's been afflicted with leprosy as well, and he finds healing after Elisha, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or
Elisha
tells him to cleanse himself in the Jordan, and he's so thankful he wants to take dirt from Israel back with him, because there's this ancient idea of connection between worship of a god and the land that the god is controlling or is God over. But of course we know God is God of not a single place, but God of the whole world. Mm-hmm. And I think kind of between the two, we see this distinction that, God is not tied down to maybe our own ideas, mm-hmm. our own thoughts of who God is or what God can do in our lives. I think we're often tempted to think or to pray that, if only God would give me this or that, or allow me to have this in my life, then God would be showing his greatness to me. Mm-hmm. But God works in mysterious ways.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think this the littleness I mentioned, our service, that God could, this magnificent God of ours, this all-powerful, omniscient, omnipotent God of ours can use our littleness, our little bit of whatever, is impressive, and it should be impressive to us. This reason Naaman decided to come to Israel for healing is because he had a little slave girl, and the little slave girl happened to be from Israel. And so when she found out that her master had been afflicted with leprosy, which was a terminal condition in those days, she said to him, well, Master, you should go to the great prophet we have in Israel, and I'm sure he would be able to fix you up. And so here is this little slave girl. She has no standing whatsoever. She's in a foreign land. She is of a foreign god, and she's a girl. and she's a little servant, and she had the courage and the faith to speak and to testify to the power of God. And so, maybe that would be an encouragement for all of us. As Father said, maybe we're feeling that our problem or our situation or even the problems in the world are too much for even God to handle, and so we're despairing. And so maybe we need to hear the scriptures today, that our God is not boxed in. He is not limited by your or my limitations and expectation. So, and that might be a great characteristic of faith, is that I do not allow my hope in God to be limited by my fear or my whatever, my limitations in perception or my intellectual capacity. I don't know how these things happen, but that we have faith that God is a God of power and might, is a God of mercy and forgiveness. So maybe especially in your family, where family situations, it seems hopeless. People are not talking to each other. People are not getting along. Maybe since your mom and dad died, it just seems like life is not what it used to be or what it could be. And so you've maybe given up hope for those situations. I would just say, by the scriptures today and by what Father's saying, is let's not box God in as if God cannot overcome these things. That might be a great way for us to respond to the great gift that we have in Jesus Christ and in his church and his sacraments and the Word of God. And so maybe we should go ahead and, I don't know, hope for the best. Yeah.
And let God out of the box.
Let God out of the box. Yeah. Because you put him in there. All right. Take care.
Peace.